There's a difference of someone who is born with the ability, or let's just say they acquire, I keep saying born, let's just say someone gets the ability to, you know, like Nitro, right? He can explode. Well, he gets this ability, he can't control it, and so it's unsafe for him to be in public because he could, like, sneeze or cough or fart or whatever and explode and kill 12 people, right? So he has to register because that's dangerous. Well, what's the difference of that and someone who's born with bad eyesight and has to register and can't have a driver's license because if they try to drive, they're like 60 or 85% blind or whatever. They can see, but they're legally blind. Well, you're not going to give them a driver's license. They're going to be registered on their license as they're legally blind, and they're going to be taking certain liberties away. What's the difference? They're both born with something that's dangerous to other people. You can't let one person...
Yeah, but you can't take away somebody's ability to explode. You have to lock them up or do something
No,
crazy
that's why...
like that.
Okay, so if that happens, what do you think is more unjust? Locking someone away from other... And you wouldn't lock them. Like, most likely the government would, like, give them some sort of, like, property out in the middle of nowhere. Or, you know what I mean? Like, explode all you want. You know, you're just going to kill deer and bear. Like, what's more unjust is taking one person who can't control exploding and hasn't been able, they've gone through Xavier school, they just cannot learn to control it, not letting them live around people, or letting them live around people, and over their lifetime, thousands of people end up dying. Like, what's more unjust? Yeah, I understand it's not fair to go, you have nothing,
yeah,
this
but it's
isn't
not
your
fair
fault.
to all the people like Colossus or Wolverine where...
They don't have to leave.
Unless they choose to, like, cause harm to someone else, that kind of a situation would never affect them. And so
yeah, so they don't have to leave. They can live a normal life.
Because that one person that does explode happens to have a problem, now everybody that has any kind of ability...
they don't have to... Okay, they don't get locked up or put out on some isolated ranch
I'm not talking about them being locked up. I'm talking about and now everybody has to know about them.
Everybody doesn't have to know about it. That's what I was saying. Like, no one knows if you can drive or not. They just assume, but no one knows, or if you're legally blind. We have a lady in our church who's legally blind who I didn't know it for like a year until she told my wife and my wife told me. I didn't just know because she could see enough to interact. I didn't know that she was registered as legally blind. And even if I do, it's not like it changes. Yeah, okay, so I wouldn't want her, you know, like, I would ask her to, like, drive on a youth event, but, like, I don't see that as being an injustice to her. And it's not like everyone, like, as soon as she registers...
Yeah, but it's her prerogative to tell you.
Exactly. And but she's registered, so what you're saying is once they're registered, everyone knows. How does everyone know just because they're registered?
But anybody, like, anytime they go, they put that on their registration to vote, on their registration, or, like, on any kind of, like, living or areas or anything. If someone's legally blind, they're not allowed to have a parking place. You can't have a parking place in a... like, except for the handicap spots, but
what I'm saying is, if you have to register with the government, how does that make everyone know that you have superpowers? If you don't ever use them, how does anyone know? Like, unless someone hires, like, a private detective to do a background search, how would anyone else know? It's not like if you're not telling people, how would anyone know that you have superpowers? If you never use them, you don't talk about it, and all you've done is you've registered, no one knows what I'm registered as my political party, or if I even vote unless I tell them. You don't know what my political party is. I don't know what yours is. And you don't know what I vote unless I tell you. What's the difference?
The difference is like...
I am registered as a certain party, but you don't know.
For somebody that has an ability, like like somebody that's an artist, they could not tell anybody, but they'll have evidence like around them that like they'll be sitting drawing or whatever.
That's only if they choose to use it. So if you choose to use your superpower, you can't cry when people find out that you have it. And having a superpower isn't inherently a bad thing. So, you know, like, now we're talking about, that's just a prejudice issue. So that's like saying you shouldn't have to register your race on your driver's license because if people find out, who cares if you're black or white? Like, first off, you can see it, and second off, who cares? Yeah, there's some prejudiced idiots or jerks out there, but, like, so what? I have superpowers. And I understand it goes a little deeper, because, like, someone having dark or light skin isn't going to inherently hurt someone or give them a more potential. But at the same time, like, if you never, I'm saying, like, you make it sound like as soon as they register, they have, like, a scarlet letter written on them.
It's like, I can see people, like, having to, like, tell people, because you know how, like, if a sex offender moves in down, like, the street, they're mandated to tell everybody in that neighborhood that has children.
Okay, but why is that bad?
see somebody that has
Tell me why that's bad. I want to know. Okay, so I'm right in the process of registering essentially to go volunteer at a school. In fact, I got to go here in just a little bit to be shown. Look, I don't have TB. Woo, no reaction. If I show up as TB and then I have to get a chest X-ray, if I have TB, they're not going to let me volunteer at a school. Am I going to be offended? No, it sucks, but why would I want to be around kids with TB? So if I have a certain superpower that is violent in nature or dangerous in nature, yeah, it sucks I can't volunteer to be around children, but why would I want to put them in that danger?
Well, it's more than that. I'm just talking about somebody sees, like on a flyer, I have a superpower. That's
why would you make a flyer that you have a superpower?
But that's what I'm saying. People.
Why would you make flyers? I have a superpower.
Because I can see them force. Like I'm saying,
they're gonna force you to make flyers.
Like let the people in your neighborhood or your apartment
no. That's a different issue. That's like after registration. That's other addendums to it. We're just talking about registering. So like law enforcement, like medical, police. Don't you think you'd want it in your medical record that your skin, it takes X amount of tons of pressure to break your skin? So they, like, on the way, they go, oh, this, you know, like your doctor, they're not like Superman. You can't, a scalpel won't cut him. They would need kryptonite to weaken his skin to save his life. Well, you know, like certain people need certain kind of information. If you have a certain kind of power that affects it, you're going to want your doctor to have that information. The police are going to need to know that information. And the government's going to want to know, in case, you know, for certain things, you know, kind of thing. But, like, that doesn't mean everyone knows and everyone has access to it. It's going to change your life a little bit, but you have a superpower that's going to change your life.
Like, in our American government, we have a thing called the Freedom of Information Act. So anybody that's registered with a weapon, anyone that's a sex offender, anything that's like that, you can go onto that website and find all those information freely and available to anybody that wants to find out anything about you.
Okay, so they
or
find out
you have any kind of felony.
They find out you have a superpower and that you have no record of ever any trouble with it. What's the big deal?
People like, oh, you have a superpower. Stay away from my children. Like,
okay, and that's gonna happen. But that's no different than them finding out another way. They're still gonna find out eventually. They could find out, and that's just, again, that goes back to prejudice. That's not the weakness of the act. That's the weakness of mankind. If someone, first off, why is your neighbor searching you online? They already are thinking you're weird or something. If they're searching you online, they're like, they already don't feel comfortable with you around their kids. So stop wearing wife beaters and, you know, or something. I don't know, like, you know, whatever it is, like, you know, don't wear an Italian thong bathing suit in your backyard to swim. There's some reason they already think you're weird. It's just like, anyways, I'm just being dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if they're searching you online, or what is this Jeff guy, you know, why?
Well, I mean, some people, they do that just for their neighborhood watches and stuff like that.
Yeah, Brandy did that when we moved, and she saw how many sex offenders, but we're not harassing them. It's not like we go, oh, this guy, like, one of them was like, he was arrested and was like violent or whatever. We don't go, like, stalk him and beat him up or, like, give him death threats. Yeah, we know there's a guy, there's, like, X amount of sex offenders in paradise. But that's just that we know. Like, we didn't go around, we didn't find their personal information, print up flyers, and people who do those kind of things, I believe that's also illegal. Or at least, like, there's a standard on it.
It's vigilantism, and if people are running around with capes and all that kind of thing, I can already see, oh, this person has a superpower, and they did, like, there was an accident involving them or something, and so, like, oh, they must be horrible, and we need to, like, make them pay or something weird like that.
Okay, but that's going to happen no matter what. That happens just from skin color or religious. Like, how many people have been beaten up because they're gay, or they don't like gays, or because they're black, or they're white, or they're Mexican, or because they're a Christian, or because they're an atheist, or because they believe in evolution. Like, you can go through all of history.
There's tons of them, but
what's the difference of just, oh, because they have a superpower? It's just, again, that's not the weakness of the Registration Act. It's the weakness of man.
But I can see people going, oh, well, the government's saying it's okay because of the Registration Act. They're letting me know. So, like,
they're not saying it's okay. It's just a fact. Like, everything else about me is registered. My fingerprints, my hair color, my height, my weight, where I live, where I've ever lived, everything about me is registered with the government. So why would this be excluded? If they're going to know everything about me already, Like, if you have the right clearance, like if the FBI has the right, if they, for whatever reason, they suspect me for something, if they get clearance to the information, they know just about everything about me. They're going to be able to see...
Yeah, but there are certain details about you that are concealed. Things like sexual orientation and like all that kind of things.
That's irrelevant.
Yeah.
My sexual orientation isn't going to accidentally hurt somebody.
Well, I mean...
But my superpower could accidentally hurt somebody. You know what I mean? Or, like, if for some reason they reenact the draft, and they go, they're not going to just be throwing, like, wouldn't that be retarded to throw just, like, think of someone, the Sentry, just on, like, oh, frontline Marine, you were drafted. They're going to want to use them more strategically, or, like, you know, like, it just, I don't understand why, if they can know my eye color, and they can know everything else about me, where... That's pretty private, where I live and where I've ever lived, and what jobs I've had. Like, if they can know that, why... I don't know. I just don't see it. We're out of time. This is already like at 17 and a half minutes.
That was only 17 minutes?
Yeah. Well, this last part. So let's go ahead and end it. Obviously, we don't have any. We're just ranting and raving. Give us your comments, your opinion on it, your feedback on your thoughts of not so much the Marvel Registration Act, but if they enacted, like if people start getting real superpowers. And start being born with superpowers and getting superpowers in our world, and the government is proposing a registration act, not any other stuff, not like you have to be in the police or the government, just the fact that they're going to add that as information that you have to register if you gain a superpower that has to be part of your basic information that law enforcement and government can access with the right clearance, you know, kind of thing. What your comments are. So we'll throw up a thread. Jeff will probably do it here in just a few minutes in the forums about it. And let us know your opinions. We want to hear them. Obviously, we both have opinions, and let's hear yours. All right, until next episode, see you guys.